Hello again. Welcome to part 2 of our Technology Management lecture series. My name is Dennis Donovan, and I will be discussing various topics within the project lifecycle management. Let's begin this journey, shall we? As you can see, here are our expected learning outcomes. Technological innovation. It is the idea of taking existing knowledge, tools, processes, or what have you to create something. It solves a problem. By doing so, it improves everyone's lives. Think about it. What would you do without modern medicine, or even the internet? Can you think of any? When a product is developed, it usually is shaped like the letter S. As it goes through the various stages of its cycle, the demand for the product will gain acceptance and eventually weaken over time. If you focus your attention on the figure, it depicts music sales over a period of time. Cassettes were popular back in the 1980s until the CD was introduced. This technological innovation was king up until the public was given the ability to listen to a digital music. If you look, there are 3 curves. One technology nears the end of its useful life as another is introduced. I wonder, what do you think will replace digital music? Let's talk more about the product lifecycle. It is broken into 4 segments, as shown by the figure below. Introduction. As a new innovation is introduced to the market, there is not much information about it. It may be difficult to make, so therefore, the organization typically does not make any profit. The growth. As you figured, that's where sales grow. Maybe it is easier to manufacture, thus lowering the costs. The company begins to show profit. However, it should be mentioned that not all innovations make it this far. The maturity stage, this is where I equate it to a steady state, where the consumer is well aware of the product and it is mature. In the decline stage, as you guessed, sales decline. Maybe there is new technology making it obsolete. So why would an organization want to know this? It can be used to create marketing strategies. For example, when the product first comes out, the organization needs to get the word out about the product. When the product is mature and now has competition, how does the organization differentiate itself? Maybe they make a price change, add additional features. It sounds simple. The company just needs to get their product to the market first, right? Well, in a way, yes. If they're first, relationships with the suppliers can be made to maybe offer a cheaper product compared to the competitors by going into agreements. If they create brand recognition, the consumer will buy since the first thing they associate the product with. But none of this will happen if the organization does not match the customer's desires to the product. According to Steve Blank, 2010 article found in the supplemental material at the end of the lecture, first movers have a 7% failure rate. So instead, we should start by understanding how consumers purchase products. The diffusions of innovations places people into buckets as described by Shane. Innovators make up only 2.5%. Those people buy the product regardless of its value. Early adopters make up 10%. As more information becomes available, they purchase the product. Early majority make up a whopping 40%, and this is the time to focus on the value add of the product. The late majority, again, is another 40% of the people. They have to ensure that buying the product will bring them great value. And of course, the laggards. They make up only 10%. They usually never adopt it until they're forced into it. Which segment do you relate to? It may change depending on the product, since some folks can have different perceived values. It is interesting to see how both the adoption rate and the product lifecycle match up. As the consumer buys the product, it enters into a different stage in the life cycle. Take a look at the chart and see how they match up. Now, if you can truly understand the customer, the organization can tailor product innovations to what the customer needs. So let's say market research shows that snowblowers are popular in the Northeast for homeowners 40 and above in October. Now, would you try and sell them in July? Of course not. The company would probably go bankrupt. But you wouldn't know unless you understood the market, right? With a particular segment in mind to sell the product, a strategy can be created. This is where the AIDA model comes in. A commercial can be used to grab the individual's attention and interest. Put it on sale and you may create some desire to purchase, and ultimately getting the consumer to take action, buying the product. Let's take a look at this commercial to better understand the AIDA model.
Snowfall warnings and blackouts. It's going to be a long day of shoveling, folks.
Isn't it about time you got a Honda snowblower?
After this week's snowstorm, this commercial got my attention and captured my interest. Why wouldn't I want to be the guy in the video hanging out on the couch instead of shoveling for hours in the cold? If I wasn't such a laggard, or maybe cheap, maybe I would actually take some action and purchase one. I invite you to review the following questions. It may help reinforce the lecture. Go ahead. Don't be shy. Give it a try. Go back and review the material. Or check out the supplemental material. I encourage you to read and watch some more material on the various subjects outlined in this lecture. Thank you. See you next week when we take a look at human resource management.